Hey, Weather Weenies, meteorologist Serena Arnold here. Let's talk about this nor'easter again. Got a couple updates and still want to show you just kind of where some of this uncertainty is. Winter storm watches are out throughout New England, and there's also some high wind watches. Now, those are the brown ones here, and what's interesting about this is the warning's always going to show kind of the most severe, and winter storm watches take priority. So there's a much larger area where there are high wind watches. So in Vermont, that includes Richmond, Rutland, East Wallingford, Bristol, Killington, Underhill, Fairhaven, and Ripton, where east winds of 30 to 40 miles an hour are possible with gusts up to 65. So this is going to be for eastern Addison, eastern Chittenden, eastern Rutland, and western Rutland counties. This also includes locations in New York and Massachusetts. So northern Berkshire County in Massachusetts, eastern Rensselaer County, boy, I can't say that one in New York, and also Bennington County in Vermont. Same thing, high winds 25 to 40 with gusts up to 65. Now those are for like Wednesday into Thursday. Let's talk about some of the other hazards. Like the snow. Still a lot of question along coastal areas, southern and southwestern New Hampshire. We'll talk about why in a couple minutes. There's also some limited ice potential in southwestern New Hampshire. I expect this area to grow a little bit tomorrow. Way up in Maine, if you're around the Caribou office, here's your forecast snow. Not concerned with ice at this time, but that could change. Vermont snowfall forecasts. And this is a more realistic look at what I'm expecting for ice. Probably we'll have some updates on that Wednesday morning. Expected snowfall, it's really limited to the north and western parts here. And you see those totals have come up a little bit. And the only place there's icing concerns is right here, just east of Pittsfield, that northwestern corner. Once again, expecting this area to grow just a little bit. All right, so let's talk timing now because that's kind of a big picture here. So the storm is going to be moving in from southwest, moving up through the northeast, but it's coming into dry air. So it's going to start raining and snowing actually technically above us before we really notice it. So there's kind of a big question is how long is it going to take for that snow to melt and moisten up those layers, giggity, and have it fall down through and actually have the precip start reaching the ground. The Gray Main office does a pretty good job of showing onset timing graphics, so seeing at about 11 a.m. here in the southwestern corner of New Hampshire and seeing this increase as we move this direction to where when we start getting through about the central Maine area, we're looking at much later on Wednesday in the evening. So that's when they think we're going to start to notice this and when this is going to start reaching the ground. Now, one of the things that's going to potentially limit the amount of snow accumulation we see in New Hampshire specifically is the air between the ground and the clouds. In these mid layers looks like it might be warm, like above freezing, which my weather weenies know is going to cause a snowflake to fall, melt into a little ball of water, and then go down and actually freeze as before it reached the ground. And so there's this big sleet increase across the forecast area, which is going to drastically reduce snowfall. How much is it going to reduce snowfall forecast totals? Well, that's one of the many big questions. So we're going to see some showers pass, in the southern part, especially southwestern parts of New England here today and tonight. Then we get a little bit of a break before we start to see the snow and stuff move in. So this is 16Z. This is noon, where we're starting to see this move in, and then slowly we start to see this fill in, though not exactly heavy at times. And that huge area of purple is where that warm air is. Where once again we're kind of expecting just this big sleet fest, and that goes from Connecticut and Rhode Island, Massachusetts, up through Vermont, New Hampshire, and southern Maine. Now, the good news with April snowstorms, obviously, is that because of how warm it is and the sun has been shining on the roads and it's been really, really nice, they're not expecting paved surfaces to get any accumulation at all during the day Wednesday. If they do, it's going to be after the sun goes down, after temperatures drop, and after snow accumulation really starts picking up. So Wednesday impacts are kind of questionable because our school's going to be canceled. Are they going to let out early? It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out and how well the forecast tracks with this. Now moving into from Wednesday night into Thursday, snowfall rates should approach 1 to 2 inches per hour at times, and the snow to liquid ratio is like an 8 to 10 one. But as the night goes on and things dry out for all the places except along the immediate coastline, those snow ratios could come up and the snow could actually get a lot drier overnight, which gives you more accumulation. I quote, road conditions will likely quickly deteriorate during the evening hours as the sun begins to set and snowfall rates increase. Heavy wet snow accumulations could result in power outages, especially where significant accumulations occur. Then the wind is going to pick up. 45 to 55 mile an hour along the coast, 35 to 45 mile an hour interior. This can lead to power outages, blowing snow, drifting snow. A lot of that is going to depend on that snow ratio and how wet it is. Wetter snow is likely to bring more power outages, where drier snow is a lot more likely to result in drifting. So after the bulk of the stuff moves through here and we start moving into Thursday, this low hangs around and meanders, and where it goes and how long it meanders is what's really going to kind of determine how much more snow falls in these areas. This is where there's especially a lot of questions in southern New Hampshire. What places see rain and whatnot? Most places are going to see snow Thursday into Thursday night, and some may even see it continue into Friday. Regardless of where this goes, the forecast discussion says that significant snow accumulation is expected for most areas, which we've seen from the forecast snowfall total maps. It's just that some areas could end up being a little bit higher than what we see on there, i.e. southwestern New Hampshire and the Monadnock region, based on what happens. So this is where the biggest questions are, and what I want you to know is there remains some uncertainty in the specific snowfall amounts, especially over southern New Hampshire and along the western Maine coast, as a more southerly track of the surface low would give these locations colder air and more QPF. That's more precipitation to work with. So coastal areas can expect a very slushy 1 to 4 inches. A few slushy inches, as they say here as well, in Manchester and Nashua. 6 to 12 inches on a line that runs from like Jaffrey through Concord, Lewiston, Augusta, and Waterville. If you're north of that, it's like 12 to 18 inches with 2 feet possible in some locations, especially at higher elevations. And as you go on the downsloping sides of higher elevations, those snowfall totals are going to drop due to downsloping effects, which is where the air dries and warms and you just don't get as much snow. I'm expecting remnants of this to actually probably last into Saturday, with seeing flurries and showers throughout New England just sporadically. So that's how things look today. Still big questions in my mind about southwestern New Hampshire. So let's see what the models do in the next 12 to 24 hours.